Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch. Brought to you by, incredibly enough, Roll for Combat. That's right. And their Battle Zoo Ancestries Living Legends Kickstarter, as well as thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everybody. Today is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. This is a live show number 1169. 69. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and then sometimes I'll pontificate about a topic related to our hobby. Other times we'll take a first look, maybe page through a role-playing game book, or crack open a board game, which is what we're going to do tonight, because we're going to take a first look at Disney Donald Duck in Happy Camper from Maestro Media. And before you start poo-pooing, oh, it's a little kiddies game, this is actually designed by Wolfgang Kramer. Well, he's a co-designer on it. Could be kind of interesting. It actually does look quite interesting. In fact, Maestro Media had reached out and said, hey, Jeff, would you like to take a peek at this? And usually if it was like a children's game, I'd say, well, not really. It's not really my audience. This looks kind of cool. Plus, it's celebrating 90 years of Donald Duck, who happens to actually be my favorite of the Disney characters. I don't know. I like when he's cranky, especially when he took on the Nazis. That's a good cartoon. Very good cartoon. Of course, when you're not watching videos here on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And then, of course, because this is a live show, there is chat available. It's not on screen. One of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 10 whole minutes. I know, half a lifetime these days, in order to take part in chat. So if you want to say howdy, maybe get a question, comment, if you can check both those boxes, be a subscriber, and have been for at least 10 minutes, you can join us in chat. Fire away. I'll do my very best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Semper Buffo, followed by Wallona's Cave. Jose Fernandez is also with us in chat, as is Sean O'Donnell, our good friend, the Madman, Lewin RX, as well as Pete's Draculich, W. Forge, and Kevin R. Smith. So there you go. Welcome aboard. W. Forge says 90 years and they're still not part of the public domain. What gives, Disney? I don't know. It's kind of weird because some things are public domain, other things aren't public domain. I don't know. It's an odd thing. It is a very odd thing. I don't understand it. I mean, like, I know Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse is public domain. We're actually going to talk about a public domain character in a few moments, which we'll kind of get into that discussion a little bit. But first, let's talk about our sponsor. That's right, because the Dispatch is currently being sponsored by our good friends over at Roll for Combat and their Battle Zoo Ancestries Living Legends Kickstarter, which includes 14 new playable races, 4 5e Dungeons and Dragons, and I would assume also 5.5e, the new edition of Dungeons and Dragons, and Pathfinder 2nd edition. And these playable races include the Angel, Evil Eyes, Sphinxes, Gargoyles, Were Creatures, Lamia, Golemborn, Swarmblood, Psychopomps, Cerebrophages, Arboreals, Devils, as well as Fusions, which fusions are actually a fusion of different races together to play as one. How's about that, ladies and gents? And hey, as I speak, Stephen from Roll for Combat has rolled on into chat. Good to see you, Stephen. Unless it's someone else impersonating Stephen. Yeah. I saw Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I know how this stuff works. I do. So, of course, this is another one of those Roll for Combat Kickstarters that funded, I don't know, like immediately within seconds of launching. Of course, you can reserve a copy of the edition of your choice, D&D or Pathfinder, in hardcover with PDF for a $69 pledge. Or if you want to just get the PDF alone, you can do so for a $35 pledge. Of course, we're also talking about some virtual tabletop assets that can be added into the mix, say for, I don't know, Foundry, maybe. You can do that. I believe that's $99 on that pledge. I'm sure Stephen will point it out if I'm incorrect on that. And of course, you can make these pledges through April 11th. Now, the PDFs are actually expected pretty quickly. They're expected in July. The hardcovers should follow in September. Do want to mention, if you have not seen any of the Roll for Combat books, they're Battle Zoo Ancestries, they're Indigo Isles books, top-notch production quality. Artwork pops. The colors really jump off the page, and that's because I know Roll for Combat spares practically no expense in order to produce those. They really are, no joke. I'm not kidding around. They really are some of the highest quality tabletop role-playing game products that you can purchase. Now, granted, the content may not necessarily be your bag of tricks, but the actual production quality, chef's kiss, right? Delish. All righty then. Who else we got popping on in? We've got 245 Trioxin. Robert Santon is also joining us tonight. I think I've said hello to everybody so far. Oh, Kathy Evans just jumped on into chat. We got a nice chat rocking and rolling tonight. Very cool, very cool. So, gotta say, this past weekend, super busy. Super busy. You may have noticed I've got a couple of reviews out there. One of them popped up yesterday because the embargo was over. And that was for good old Cthulhu by Gaslight's Keeper's Guide from my friends over at Chaosium Inc. Although, gotta be honest, they may not be too happy with me because of that review. Hey, I call it as I see it, ladies and gents. I call it as I see it. Although there was a commenter on that video who said, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. They said that it was a good review, and it seemed like it was on target or something like that. But I come across like I don't know anything about Call of Cthulhu, because there is a portion in the book where, now remember, this is supposed to be the Victorian era. And yes, I know the Gaslight era is not only England, it's not only Europe, but we don't call the period from what 1837 through 1901, which of course in England is the Victorian era. That's not what we call it here in the United States. We call that the Western expansion era. So we don't call that period of time the Victorian era. So Cthulhu by Gaslight is pretty much advertised as the Victorian era, although there is some mention, especially more so in the Investigator's Handbook, which for whatever reason I kept calling the Investigator's Guide in the review video. It's got some mention outside of only England. There's some talk about Europe, America, not much as far as the Keeper's Guide. And in the middle of a section that's talking about crime in England and famous criminals and criminal gangs during the Victorian era, there's a one page about H.H. Holmes and the murder castle in Chicago, which I said, yeah, it's kind of odd that it pops out of nowhere. And it's kind of like, okay. But the book itself, I'm not trying to, stop you from checking out the review, but the book does feel kind of jumbled, kind of scattered. And I said, that's one of the reasons why. And this commenter said, well, me not knowing why they would include that in a Gaslight era book meant that I didn't know anything about Call of Cthulhu. It's like, what? I was like, so you're implying that if I, misinformed somebody, if I got the year of the publication of The Shadow over Innsmouth wrong, if I said, oh, it was 1938, which of course we know Lovecraft was already dead, or I think he died in 38. That would mean I know nothing about Call of Cthulhu, the game? Okay. All right. All right. Chris Lundgren's with us in chat as his reading aid. Yes. Chris Lundgren says, yeah, just finished reading Call of Cthulhu. It was dark, and you were right. It's a big racist. Can't miss that in the story. And the funny thing is, Call of Cthulhu is not really all that racist. Horror at Red Hook, I think, is Lovecraft at his apex of published racism. Of course, his letters and that. Anywho, Sean Dow says possibly in April Fool's looks like a legit setting offshoot. You'll have to look up the visuals to see what they mean. I don't know what Sean's talking about here. Battletech Gothic. There you go. Robert Santon with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. So we are going to jump on into the news. After the news, I am also going to mention the Patreon is back. People have been asking, Jeff, how come you don't have a Patreon? They've been asking me that for years, because I think the last time I had it active was about 2017. So it is back, and I have also been working on a Discord. I know some of you out there was a commenter who said, oh, I hate Discord. People have asked for Discord for the Gaming Gang. There are going to be portions of that Discord server which will only be open to members of the Gaming Gang Patreon. Not all of them, but there will be some. Chris Leonard likes the hat. Yes. I actually had my brother pick this up because a couple of weeks ago, they were at Disney World. And I said, hey, do me a favor. Pick me up a hat, but don't pick me up a hat with like Mickey Mouse or just Disney World. So this is actually, it kind of looks like this is the 1971 because it says established 1971. And this is kind of the logo wing that I remember. So Sean Dow says they're all about Discord. They use it a huge amount. Well, I got to be honest, I probably need a couple of moderators. So, anywho, let's get on into the news because remember, I was just talking about, before I was talking about the commenter on my review, I was talking about public domain. And currently enjoying a rather successful crowdfunding run is the family-friendly role-playing game Bramble Trek Adventures in the 100-Acre Woods. I got skinny from Crossed Paths Press. Imagine yourself stepping into the heart of the 100-Acre Woods where the rustling leaves whisper secrets and the gentle breeze carries the scent of honey and adventure. The familiar comfort of towering trees and winding paths welcome you, but something is amiss. An eerie stillness hangs in the air, and the laughter of old friends is but a distant memory. With a journal in hand and curiosity guiding your steps, you embark on a journey like no other. But this isn't just a stroll through the woods. It's a tale waiting to be told, a mystery waiting to be unraveled. Somewhere among the thickets and glades, a darkness has crept into the 100-Acre Woods, twisting the hearts of its inhabitants. The creatures who once found joy in the simple things, sharing stories, gathering honey, and playing without a care, are now bound by strange glimmering crystals that cloud their minds and dull their warmth. You're not here to fight. You're here to heal. Now, there is a short, about a minute long video here, so let's give it a peek.
Once upon a time, a small gnawborn named Bramble tumbled through the mighty world tree. Down, down he fell until, plop, he landed in a most peculiar place. 3 heffalumps, their chests glowing with strange purple crystals, gasped and fled. Bramble, seeking answers, followed a butterfly to a tiny house. Knock, knock. A yellow bear smiled warmly. Oh, bother, you've had quite a tumble. Would you like some tea? Bramble shared his tale. Do you have magic here? Why, of course. Honey is magic. With Pooh's honey catcher, Bramble crafted a staff. Golden lights swirled, and the house shimmered with enchantment. Hand in hand, Bramble and Pooh stepped forth to save the 100-Acre Wood. Will you help too?
You can score the hardcover of Bramble Trek Adventure. Oh, I'm sorry. It's not Adventures. It's Tales in the 100-Acre Woods for a backer kit pledge of approximately $32. You can get just the PDF for a pledge of approximately, I think, $27. It's not exactly clear with the pledge levels because this is over in, it appears it's the UK. But there's kind of like, oh, this is going to be the retail price. This is the price in pound, or yeah, I think it's pound sterling. I don't think it's euros if I remember correctly. And then it's like, this is US. And it's kind of like, huh? And I got to say, there are loads of pledge levels, which also include the Bramble Trek core rules, because this is an offshoot of Bramble Trek. That is a separate game. Although I do understand if you want to play the solo version of this, you don't need those core rules. So there's actually 3 different ways to enjoy Bramble Trek and Bramble Trek Tales of the 100-Acre Woods without a GM. So you play cooperatively, you can play solitaire, and then, of course, you can play with a game master. This looks pretty interesting, and I will say that this is actually a nice use of something that's in the public domain. It's not Pooh Bear murdering people, making like blood honey or nonsense like that. It actually looks really, really nicely done. As far as I know, and once again, that for some reason on Backer Kit, it's not that easy to track down like fulfillment dates. But it's my understanding that fulfillment on this is planned for early 2026. So there are some questions, comments about the Aliens Kickstarter. I am not sharing news for that. I'm going to talk about why when we finish up the news here. So I'm going to touch on that. Chris Lundgren's asking about the finals in the Gaming Gang 2025 March tabletop role-playing game Madness. You can vote for the finals at either, well, both actually. You can vote here on YouTube in the posts area of the channel. You can also vote on X. I'm going to combine those votes together. I will explain why that is the case, that you can't vote on thegaminggang.com like you had previously. I'll talk about that once we wrap up with the news. But once again, got to say, this looks pretty cool. This looks very family friendly. It's not like a dark Winnie the Pooh, but it is an adventurous 100 Acre Woods is what it appears. Moving right along, arriving April 2nd is the first chapter of a new Pathfinder adventure, Shades of Blood. I've got the lowdown about Thirst for Blood from Paizo Inc. The remote island settlement of Talmendor's Bounty is thrown into chaos as a strange magical effect plunges the region into shadow. Urged to investigate the event, the player characters travel to a nearby island and discover an ancient Aslanti prison that was buried during Earthfall. Inside, a cult of the blood god Kamazats, I think that's it, Kamazats thrives, and in dealing with them, the PCs learn that greater threats lay deeper inside the ancient complex. Can the player characters discover who's behind the supernatural shadow and stop them before it's too late? Thirst for Blood is a Pathfinder adventure for 4 first-level characters. This adventure begins the Shades of Blood adventure path, a 3-part monthly campaign in which a group of adventurers explore a ruined ancient prison to stop a vampiric threat to cover the skies in shadow. This volume also includes a look into Kamazats, god of bats, blood, caverns, and nocturnal predators, a gazetteer of the island settlement of Talmendor's Bounty, new player options, and a selection of dangerous monsters. This 92-page softcover will carry an MSRP of $29.99, or you can grab just the PDF on April 2nd for $19.99. And I will be reviewing this adventure path. So I am going to take the reins of the Pathfinder Adventure Path reviews from Sammy for 3 months, and I am going to tackle this. Now, there is an adventure anthology, which is also going to hit on the 2nd. Sammy will be reviewing that. So we've got that as well. Dark Autumn Scribe is joining us tonight. Says that this Donald Duck game looks great. They're ordering it. They got sucked in. We haven't even looked at it yet. They're jumping on board. Moving right along, Humble Bundle is teamed with Arc Dream Publishing for a money-saving offer which features the Delta Green role-playing game. I know someone last week had mentioned this was coming on Humble Bundle. They were a day or two early on their prediction. But I've got the deets on the deal. Delta Green's very best. Gather up your party for endless adventure with his bundle of tabletop role-playing and fiction books where horror meets conspiracy. This tabletop role-playing game Explorer's Kit from the legendary Delta Green partnership contains campaign resources and more for the dark and mysterious Delta Green. From virtual tabletop adaptations to The King in Yellow, annotated to the newest revelation, God's Hunt for the dark and mysterious Delta Green. Get everything you need to fend off the unnatural, undead, and misunderstood. I think the misunderstood are the least of your worries in Delta Green. As you embark on an epic journey together. Plus, your purchase will help support direct relief. You can jump on board for as little as $5. You can go all in for a minimum donation of $25. You're going to receive all 58 items which are on offer through April 10th. And yes, it does include the controversial, at least in my eyes, God's Teeth. I got to say, this is a phenomenal deal. This is another one of these humble bundles where if you've ever had any sort of curiosity about a role-playing game, in this case, Delta Green, you'd be insane not to jump on board this because it has almost everything that's out from Arc Dream Publishing. There's a bunch of Roll20 and Foundry virtual tabletop adventures. You also have a bunch of fiction, and it appeared, I'm not positive, I didn't dig too deeply, but it also looked like there were some of the old edition Delta Green stuff in there. I don't know if that was only the fiction or not. Pretty wild. $25, all 58 items. And out of those 58, I think about 35 of them are PDFs. Pretty wild. Pretty wild, pretty sweet as well. Dan Webb is joining us in chat. Welcome aboard. They said they're currently reading a bunch of Delta Green fiction. Oh my goodness. I say it all the time. Delta Green is not Call of Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu's spooky, it's creepy, it's weird. You can go into some, dark places with Call of Cthulhu. But the published material over the years, and yes, there have been some that were like, whoa, man. But for the most part, it's just like, ooh, good spooky fun. Delta Green can mess with your mind. It's good stuff. It's really good stuff, though. Although, like I said, like with God's Teeth, I did not give it a review score because even though it was really well done, it's just not the sort of stuff I would run. I say that all the time. Robert Santon says they just bought the dancing hut of Baba Yaga. They just started collecting old modules. They have a handful at this point. That's pretty cool. I got to say, sadly, if you are going onto the secondary market, pricing is just, unless you luck out and you get yourself a pretty good deal, pricing on that is kind of outrageous. And it's funny because you would think, because so many of the old AD&D first and second edition modules are available print on demand, that maybe those prices would come down, but they don't. It seems like the prices go up. Anyway, what was that? You want more savings? Oh, man. Well, Bundle of Holding is offering the Into the Weird and Wild bundle. And I've got the scoop on those savings. Adventure. This all new Weird and Wild bundle presents Into the Wild and Into the Weird and Wild. It's not written properly here. Let's start from scratch after the adventurer part. This all new Weird and Wild bundle presents Into the Weird and Wild. That's better. And other tabletop weird fantasy role-playing source books from designer-artist Charles Ferguson-Avery at Feral Indie Studio and Wet Ink Games. Wet Ink Games is the Never Going Home publisher. Easily adaptable to any old-school revival system, such as Old School Essentials, Shadow Dark, or the Black Hack, or with a little work, the Dungeon Crawl Classics, Pathfinder, and 5e D&D, and other 5e compatible systems. These vivid and atmospheric system-neutral supplements give game masters the tools to create forbidding forests, exotic cities, Witcher-style monster hunts, and more. And the 200-room Avnox dungeon and the brutalist alien megastructures in the vast and the dark keep any group busy exploring for months. Send your players into these dark and dangerous landscapes and let them get their weird on. For just $19.95, you'll get all 6 complete old school supplements in the Feral collection as DRM-free PDFs, including the acclaimed Into the Weird and Wild revised edition, often described as Veins of the Earth for Forests. Yeah, I don't know. I think Veins of the Earth is really, I don't think it's as good as everybody likes to make it out to be. I have not read it all. Kind of peeked into it. I was like, I'm not saying anything about Into the Weird and Wild, though. And you'll also be able to pick up its urban counterpart Into the Cess and Citadel, the 208-page mega dungeon Avnox, the alien exploration setting The Vast and the Dark Expanded, and 2 zine-sized mini-source books, As the Gods Demand and They Cried Monster. These savings run through April 7th. Kind of cool. So if you are looking at, a little OSR, let's say material to get your creative juices running and flowing, this might be what you're looking for. All right, final news piece, now available in print and PDF from 13th Planet Games and Drive-Thru RPG for the Everywhen system is Space Pulp. Maybe I should say Space Pulp. I got the latest. Classic science fiction just got a whole lot pulpier. Whether the future is just around the corner or 1,000 grimdark millennia from now, in a setting close to Earth or a star system far, far away, Space Pulp is the sci-fi RPG you've been waiting for. A rules-light approach coupled with the innovative career mechanic from Barbarians of Lemuria makes filing the numbers off a familiar space setting or creating your own quick and easy. Do what I mentioned, you do need the Everyone core rules to use this book. Inside Space Pulp, you'll find a promotion system for character creation with random career-spanning specific events that transform character generation into a solo minigame. 9 non-human character origins, including AI, aliens, mutants, uplifted animals, robots, and synthetics. 24 distinct character careers from assassin to worker with affiliated tech level. 91 new boons and flaws, including those specific to cyberware, aliens, and machine intelligence. 124 items of equipment covering weapons and alien versions of those weapons, plasma swords, power armor, golden age retro gear, drugs, and more. Streamlined rules for ship combat, ship-specific boons and flaws, hero point options, and a separate tactical system for handling fleet engagements. Streamlined rules for vehicle combat, robots, including giant ones, and mecha. There's a complete chapter on aliens with templates for creating otherworldly creatures, a D6 encounter table, I think it's a D66 encounter table, and 11 detailed alien races, a complete planetary chapter with another D66 table for generating homeworlds, and 7 detailed planet descriptions, a complete psionics chapter with 35 detailed psionic effects, as well as 2 space magic systems, the reality-altering Chatterjee equations, and the dark sorcery of Azim's last theorem. Special rules for handling light sword duels, fast-drawn guns, gravity and environmental extremes, cracking hacking, crafting, and more. Plus, a complete adventure. Bust up on Bug Planet, which is ready to run with new players. This is the ultimate science fiction sandbox, and it awaits. The 254-page softcover with PDF can be had over at DriveThruRPG for $34.99. Want to grab just the PDF, you can do so for $14.99. Chris Lundgren's asking, how much is the main rule book for this? I think in PDF it's $9. That's what I think. I remember correctly. So Robert says that, yes, those old modules are expensive. Diesel Shot is with us tonight. Welcome aboard. All right, that is it for the news this evening. Yes. So we are going to dive on in and be taking a look at Disney Donald Duck in Happy Camper in just a bit. But there are a few items that I do want to take care of first. One of the things to mention, this was something very early in the news. Some people in chat were asking about the Alien role-playing game, the Alien Evolved role-playing game Kickstarter from Free League Publishing. Had I talked about it yet? And I will not be sharing news about that. At least at this point, I will not. If you watch the stream, you may recall I had an issue with another Kickstarter. Same sort of thing. Look, there's the reviews. Here we go. Oh, here are a couple of blurbs, a couple of review blurbs from video game websites. So this is in the reviews and actual play section of the Kickstarter. So both of the blurbs are from video game sites. And yes, they do, I guess, tackle some tabletop gaming. But if I go to your website and the front page, before I hit the fold, as people like to refer to it, is all video game stuff, then you're a video game site. In which I have no problem with. I have no beef with. But still, come on. A lot of tabletop gaming outlets covered the Alien role-playing game, or Alien the role-playing game, including right here at the Gaming Gang. So then the videos, one is from those shills over at Dicebreaker, and it's just an actual play. It's not even a review. And then the other two videos are also actual plays. So I commented on social media, and I also responded to one of the two emails I got within moments of each other, promoting the Kickstarter and providing me with press assets that I could use to promote their Kickstarter. I'm like, okay. So I wrote him back and I said, hey, you know what? No, I'm not going to share news about your Kickstarter. I think it's an insult to the tabletop gaming outlets out there, including mine, that not one of them is mentioned in your Kickstarter. You pull blurbs from video game websites, of which I don't know much about those websites. I'm not knocking those websites. They are not tabletop gaming focused websites, nor is there any video coverage. And I know what I'm going to get. I know I'm going to get the response, oh, well, you know, we're going to be adding more stuff to the page. I would be using adult language right now, but I am keeping things clean because this is what we're looking at tonight. So we might have some Disney fans tuning in, and I don't want to be dropping F-bombs on them. So, Chris Lundgren says, must be Dicebreaker. They went out of business. Did Dicebreaker go out of business? That's how much I pay attention, right? Video game sites versus Jeff's honest reviews. I'll go with Jeff any day. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Semper Buffo says, miniatures, it feels like a money grab. See, we've talked a little bit about this too, about this Kickstarter where, and you know, I am totally cool with Free League Publishing. In fact, we've got a couple of books. One is for Lord of the Rings role-playing. The other is for the One Ring, which are in transit, which I will be sharing looks at. So I don't have a beef with Free League Publishing. I just was sharing my disappointment with them and with the public about them. But this Aliens Kickstarter feels weird. The game hadn't been out that long. I mean, it's been out for a while. Don't get me wrong. It's not like it came out last year. But it hasn't been out 10 years. And to my knowledge, I didn't hear anybody clamoring for a new edition. No one. And then suddenly it's, being promoted as well. All these people say, this is what we want this. We want this in the game. And it's sort of like, I don't know, man. It just feels weird. It just feels very strange. I don't want to say it's a money grab. I don't want to say that. But so Diesel Shot says they've got nothing against Free League, but they'll add, even though they are a backer, they've seen the Discords full of fans they've played the game with for years saying they don't intend to back it. Yeah, see, that was the other thing. Like I said, as far as I understand, nobody was clamoring for a new edition. Well, I mean, nobody clamors for a new edition of like Warhammer 40K, but, every few years, you're going to get it. Chris Lundgren's complaining about, Chris always complains about the art in some of the Free League stuff. It's Martin Grip, man. I don't know what to tell you. It's just his style. Although a lot of people have also commented, like Blade Runner's artwork, kind of like, it does set a certain mood. But yeah, it's not the sharpest, but that's Martin Grip's style. So, Semper Buffo says the way Modifius handled the second edition of Star Trek Adventures was better. And I will say that there was a call for that. That there were people out there who thought, even though Star Trek Adventures first edition is really probably the most rules light, if not next to the most rules light version of the 2D20 system out there, people still felt that it was a little too complex to bring newcomers on board, because Star Trek is one of those kind of onboarding sort of role-playing games where you will attract people who don't normally play role-playing games. Star Wars, same exact thing. So Chris Lundgren says that he works for Disney. I knew that he works for Disney, and they always complain. Well, I don't know. You're a disgruntled cast member. Is that it? I have to run it up the flagpole. Anyway, so that's why I'm not going to cover it. Now it's possible they reach out to me and they say, Jeff, hey, we're really sorry. Like I said, pretty sure I'm going to get the same excuse I got from another publisher where it's like, oh, we're still adding stuff. And it's like, yeah, you've been working on this Kickstarter for a long time. In fact, you even delayed it. So not buying that. But anywho, at this point in time, I am not sharing news about that Kickstarter because of that, and also because something seems off about it. I'm not saying it won't fulfill or anything like that. Obviously, Free League Publishing is top notch. And I'm not saying it's not going to be a great game. Just don't know if there was a need for it. So we have got that. Something else I should mention, man, I am still really sore from my near-death experience last week. I have bruises all over that I did not realize. I just noticed I've got one like under here. It is now into that kind of blackish, yellowish, where it's starting to fade because it was all purple. Got one on my leg, got one up here, got some on my back. I'm like, so yeah, I'm still kind of sore. But I guess I shouldn't be complaining because I could be dead, but I'm not. So there is that. Also, if you are interested in the Patreon, I will have the link in the show notes for the Patreon. Yes, the Patreon is active. Doesn't have a whole lot going on yet. If you do become a patron, you will get a copy of my audiobook from like 2012. The Gaming Gang's Guide to Great Game Mastering, which of course is tongue in cheek. But it's funny because I hadn't listened to it in a long time. And I listened to it over the weekend. I was like, this is like 2.5 hours long. I was like, you know what? That's not bad. It's not bad. It's all right. It's all right. You won't like be listening to it and want to like leap out of a moving vehicle or anything like that. So there is that. We are going to have some various different levels. So it's 5, 10, 25, 50. Those are the 4 levels of supports. And at the $25 level, you will get a shout out during every live stream. And then, of course, at the $50 level, you will receive everything at lower levels. Plus, a PDF of a game that I tackled that month. And I will try to aim it more towards like core books for stuff. So that is how some of the publishers are going to be helping out. So that's going to be that. Then, of course, I've got the Discord. If you are interested in the Discord, I don't want to make it public yet. But if you are interested, shoot an email to Jeff McAleer at thegaminggang.com. And I will send you an invite link so you can take a peek. And of course, the Discord's mainly just going to be set up for folks who enjoy the Gaming Gang to pop in, share their thoughts on games, chat with each other. There are some audio chat channels. And I am probably going to use the Discord for some members-only chats, because that's something that I'm going to do with some of the Patreon members. I'm going to do a couple of live streams that are members only every month. One's going to be more like GM tips, and the other is going to be just, ask me anything you want. So like I said, boy, I was busy this weekend. Man, I was busy. Dan Webb says, Jeff, if you have free time. Yeah, okay. I'd enjoy hearing your after-action reports. See, I know what an AAR is. Your old Cthulhu RPG sessions. I actually talk a little bit about that in the game mastering book. I discuss some stuff. Chris Leonard says, so if Alien didn't need a reboot, Jeff, what RPG does need it? What RPG needs a reboot? I would have to think about that. That is not something I can just toss on out there without putting some thought to. Just like there's role-playing games out there that I honestly feel could use a fresh edition. We've talked about that before. Star Frontiers jumps to mind. I don't think Gamma World really, because the last edition they did of Gamma World was, I don't know much about it, but I didn't hear good things about it. And seemed like it was a lot of attempts at like monetization, like, oh, you need decks of cards and stuff like that. W. Forge says James Bond role-playing game reboot. Yes, I mention that from time to time, but I've also been told that there is a game out there, I forget the title of it, which utilizes those mechanics. It's an espionage game. It just does not have the James Bond IP attached to it. So I guess maybe not. Maybe don't need that. All right. Anywho, so I was talking about the news earlier. Mentioned Drive-Thru RPG a few times. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're going to go visit Drive-Thru RPG, Storyteller's Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, any of those One Bookshelf sites, by all means, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a 5% cut of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do go a long way to keeping thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like the video, if you dig the channel, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always stop on by paypal.me/thegaminggang to make a one-time contribution. So you don't necessarily have to sign up for a Patreon. You have to, shell out a few bucks every month. If you want to just make a one-time contribution, hell, if you want to just buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda, you can do so by going and visiting paypal.me/thegaminggang. Oh, that's yummy. Yummy. And I do want to point out our good friends, the Madman, Marius Smith, have popped on by paypal.me/gaminggang, made very generous donations. I do want a special shout out to Gleeman RX, Craig Watkins, Tessie Trekkie, James Auer, and Adrian Carpio. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly, for very, very generous donations, contributions that they recently made. It is much appreciated. All right. So tonight we're going to dive on in and take a look at Disney Donald Duck in Happy Camper in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission. Going. Hold on. I had this set up earlier and it was working fine. I don't know what happened. I was screwing around with a few things. Maybe I accidentally moved the file. It's a good break.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
If going to a movie show is right for you, if candy eating and popcorn chewing's right for you, if what you do is right for you, no matter what the others do, then RC Cola is right for you. It's not too heavy, not too sweet, it's right for you. RC Cola. RC's just an easy going, right for you. RC Cola. If what you do is right for you, no matter what the others do, then RC Cola is right for you. It's right for you. It's right for you.
Hey, kid, have a carrot.
A carrot?
Carrot sticks are, yes, indeed. They are delicious. If you must eat in between meals, why not eat nutritious dishes? Like fill a bowl with ice cubes, then add raw cauliflower. Stuff celery with cheese and let it chill for half an hour. Add carrot sticks and olives and any other knickknacks. Then keep this by the TV set for when you want those quick snacks. Well,
I'm waiting. Could you make me a banana?
okay, you're a banana.
It's your present from Mr. Wilkins.
But I don't drink Wilkins instant coffee.
I know, he just wanted to be remembered.
And now, just for you cinema owners, a special message from the star of that film, Steve Martin.
Hi, theater owners. There's a picture coming out directed by Carl Reiner, starring myself, Steve Martin. It's called The Jerk. And I just want to let you know, we're going to hype the hell out of this thing. It's going to be a real moneymaker for all of us if we cooperate. Picture's got everything they want. It's got the chase scene. It's got the karate fight. It's got the blue language they love so much. It's got the double entendre. The adults get it, the kids don't. Everybody goes out happy. Plus, we stuck in a phony disco song. They all go out whistling it at the end like a bunch of idiots. This is a first. We intentionally stuck in a boring part in the middle, just for you theater owners. About an hour into the picture, they're going to be out buying your popcorn in droves. They're going to be lined up. You may even have to take on extra help just to handle all the business. You're welcome. Gift from Steve. Reviews? Don't worry about it. We got 100 great reviews coming all across the nation. We took care of it, okay? The old cashola. Plus, we made a preview of coming attractions. We took the best stuff from the picture, stuck it all on one reel. They're going to think this picture's loaded. We even got stuff from other movies on it. By the time they figure that one out, we're going to have their money. We'll be in the Bahamas. Publicity? Don't worry about publicity. I got that covered. I'm going to do a publicity stunt the day before the picture opens. Can't tell you what it is. Well, I'll give you a little bit. You heard the expression, let it all hang out? Well, at noon, the middle of Fifth Avenue.
Hey! Hey, who put this reel on? This reel is for theater owners. Put the other reel on!
Hanging out.
I have got to say, I think that trailer for The Jerk might be funnier than most of the movie. And weirdly enough, I remember seeing that. I remember seeing that trailer back in what, 78, 79? Is that when The Jerk came out? Somewhere around there. But that is pretty funny. I love when he talks about they've taken parts of other movies and put them into the trailer. By the time anybody knows, we'll be down in the Bahamas with all the money or whatever. Yes, good stuff. Good stuff. And I see Mark Hawkswell is with us. Said they were making dinner when the Bramble Trek spot was going. Asking if anyone's played it. They're kind of interested in maybe giving it a shot with their kids. I will say that Bramble Trek, the core book, I think is out. I don't know if it's out in print. It might be out in PDF. I would also say you might want to take a peek and see if there's a quick start that's free out there. And I will have a news piece all about that. It's not a Kickstarter. It's a backer kit project. I will have news about that tomorrow morning. So there'll be a link to the publisher and everything. You can check that out. I am not sure if there is a quick start or not, but like I said, I am pretty sure that the core rules are available at least in PDF. All right. So we're going to dive on in tonight and unbox and take a first look at Disney Donald Duck in Happy Camper from Maestro Media. This game is designed by Wolfgang Kramer and Daryl Andrews. It is for 2 to 4 players, ages 8 and up. Plays in about 30 to 45 minutes. Does carry an MSRP of $39.99. And this is out now, to my knowledge. All right, all that said, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Happy Camper. I really love this artwork on the cover here. I do believe that this artwork is not necessarily for this game. It was not created for this game. I think this is actually some original Donald Duck artwork that they were able to get the rights to. I love it. I think that's great. I think that's very, very cool. All right, so let's take a look at the back here. Your time has come. You and your fellow junior woodchucks are about to embark on the adventure of your life to places unknown and with dangers unseen. It will take wit, bravery, and your resourceful skills as a junior woodchuck to complete your mission. You'll have 7 days in the unexplored wilderness. Who knows what you will find? Fill your backpack, use gadgets, and pitch tents to explore the wilderness on your camping trip. Donald Duck will help your fellow junior woodchucks trek through the unknown. Race to Lookout Point while completing other challenges to earn the most merit badges. Chris Lundgren's asking, is this going to be available at Target? I would have no idea. I don't. I'm just saying, I have no idea. All right, let's take a look at the guidebook here. And let's hope that the autofocus behaves on the Panasonic this evening, because usually we don't have to deal with it. Dangar the Mighty has popped on in, as has Relighter Gamer. Dangar's asking, have I come in at the end? No, you've actually come in at the beginning of the first look. End of the news and everything. But Dan Webb says they think this is going to be available at Amazon for $30. Nice. All right. So your mission, it's time to use everything you've learned, junior woodchucks. In Donald Duck Happy Camper, you are competing against the rest of your troop to make the most of your 7-day camping trip in the wilderness. To have the best camping trip, find Lookout Point and earn the title of Senior Junior Woodchuck. So I'm the Senior Junior Woodchuck. You'll pitch tents, use gadgets, and follow troop leader Donald Duck's guidance as you earn merit badges, explore awards, and race to the infamous Lookout Point. It is said that the beacon of the brave is the key left behind by woodchucks from generations past. It said the key that leads to a hidden land filled with treasures and history unknown. But it's only a myth, right? Clantos is joining us in chat. Welcome aboard. So here we go. We've got our contents here. So it looks like we've got Donald Duck cards to help us along. I think the more gear that you collect, the slower you are on the board, which I thought that was kind of interesting. So we have 24 area tiles that we are going to place face down. We have 4 photography merit badge cards, which will be face up. We have a last day Donald Duck card. So we've got a Donald Duck standee, because he goes up there. So we got food, tool, wood, and rope. These look like cubes. Or maybe they're not cubes. They're tokens. Explorer awards. We have tent pitching, merit badge cards, and collector gadget cards. So each player is going to choose a character, and they take the matching components. They get a backpack, a collector gadget, a tent pitching merit badge, a movement tracker, tents, player aid, and their character standee, which will go in the starting area. They take 1 food, 1 tool, 1 wood, and 1 rope. And whoever went camping most recently is the first player. So it says a 3-player game is going to be a little bit different. It's kind of interesting. So I guess 2 and 4 is as written. If you have 3, a little bit different. So in each round, you're going to reveal a new Donald Duck card. Then players take turns 1 at a time. And after the 7th Donald Duck card, the last day, is revealed, it's the final round of the game, and players will each have 1 final round. Do want to mention, got another super chat from Robert Santon. Hope I'm coming close to the pronunciation on that? Probably not. Probably nowhere near. But they are rocking out. Thank you very much for popping on in. So on your turn, you can scout. So you can flip over an area tile that you're next to, but not diagonal from any revealed area tile or path. In a 2-player game, you would flip a second tile. So I guess there are differences with 2, 3, and 4. Move Donald Duck to the second tile that you flipped. You can use gadgets. You have 2 chances to use gadgets on your turn before and after the move step. Each gadget may only be used once per turn. We have resources. You can gain resources. Build tents and move. While moving, you may choose to build a tent in the adventure area that you are in. To build a tent, remove the required resources from your backpack. The resources required to build a tent in an area are shown on the tile. You may build as many tents in a turn as you have resources to build. You may build more than one tent in the same area. This can help with merit badges and the Explorer Awards. And then we get a building tent example. Movement points. Now remember, I said the more gear you have, the slower you are. Thought I remembered that. So it says that your movement points equal the number of empty spaces in your backpack. All right. Then we've got some information about moving. So when you're moving out of an area, you cannot move diagonally. So it says to move out of a white border normal area costs you 1 movement point. To move out of caves, boulders, forest, and lakes, that is 3 movement points. If you have a tent in the adventure area, it only costs you 1 movement point. So here we got the movement costs. Then you'll have your last chance to use your gadget after the movement. Then you can earn badges, and then you will end the round. Then we have the Lookout Point Photography Merit Badge. When you move into Lookout Point for the first time, you earn the highest VP value photography merit badge that's still available. All right, so first one to get there gets the most victory points, and then it starts dipping. You also have Explorer Awards. They're given at the end of the game to the players with the most tents in each type of adventure area: caves, boulders, forest, and lakes. When scoring, the players with the most tents in that type of adventure area win that Explorer Award, and it is worth 6 victory points. All right, then we get a quick start guide here. This looks like this could be fun. Chris Lundgren's asking, what are the recommended ages? 35 and up. Cleveland RX has pointed out correctly, it is ages 8 and up. So we've got our basically player aid here. But I thought we also get, I think each of the players gets a player aid. Okay, so here's the board. Take a look at the board here. Oh, nice, thick cardboard there, card stock. Flip this around. So these are areas that are always going to remain the same, it looks like. And then down here. So one of these is our starting spot, I believe, for the junior woodchucks. And then I think another one, I think up here is where Donald starts. So then these are the costs to build a tent, right? And then we have got punch boards. So these are the different areas. So it looks like, I think these are caves, caverns, forest. Of course, this is the side that we're going to lay these down before they're revealed. Here's lake, boulders, some more forest. Then some open fields, more boulders. Here are our explorer badges. Boulders, caves, forest, and lake. So these don't count. Huh, that's interesting. So I guess you don't score points for building tents there. Here we've got, there we go, like I thought. Each of the players is going to get a little player handout. Once again, these are nice, thick cardstock. We got the standees. Unfortunately, it looks like we've got the little tabs there. I would probably look if you've got little plastic standees for like role-playing game pawns. I'd probably use those because no matter how well put together these things are, these tabs always just beat the hell out of standees. So dual-sided there. So we got Huey, Louie, Dewey, and Webby. There's Webby. And they're color-coded, but that's kind of cool. Of course, there's Donald. All right, we have got our tents. So it looks as if, let's take some of these out. Not positive, but. So is this the tent that goes onto the forest? That goes onto the lake? That goes into the cavern? And then, what was the last one? Boulders. I don't know. I would take a guess that might be the case. Or, I take that back. I get it. I see what it is. Color-coded for each of the ducks. Because remember, you get points for the number of your tents. So that's what it is. I know most of you are sitting there like, Jeff, you fool, you didn't figure that out. Max Apocalypse is with us, chiming in, says, Webby was a great character in the newer DuckTales show. With, oh gosh, I'm trying to remember who does the new voice. Isn't it David Tennant does the voice for Scrooge McDuck? Could have sworn that's who does it. So these are nice. Then we've got the resources here. And rather than these resources just being cardboard tokens, they look like they might be plastic or wood. I think they're plastic. They are. They're plastic. Of course, this is silk screened on. It's not cut, but still, that I'm going to tell you right now, some of this stuff that we're taking a look at does not look like this is from a $40 game. There are some $50 games out there that the component quality is pretty shabby. That is not the case here. So there we go. We've got all of our resources. Very nice. And quite a few of them in each of the bags. We also have our cards, and then we've got our backpacks, which, once again, pretty nicely done here. So we've got cool little insert. As we'll take the cards out as well. So we've got that insert here. Now take a look. We've got the backpacks. So that's Huey's. This is cut so that his resources don't move around on the board. And then, look at that. We get a bio for Huey. The oldest of the triplets by 3 seconds. He is often called upon to be the brains don't know why I just said it that way. Like it's Return of the Living Dead brains. So there's Huey. There's Louie, as the youngest, has a knack for charming his way into, though not always out of, danger. There's Dewey, the middle brother, hatched and dealing with classic middle child syndrome. Dewey desires to stand out as his own individual by trying to impress all those around him by doing big, extraordinary things. He's dubbed the Guts. And then we got Webby. Webby has spent most of her training for action with her granny. Webby is itching for every adventure the world has to offer. Nice and thick. We've got different layers on this. I don't know how the game plays, but this production quality is really nice. And until they reached out, I had not heard of Maestro Media before. So Dan Webb says this looks like a $25 game. Seriously? I disagree. Dan, you need to take a look at some $25 games out there because they look like crap. This does not, at least production quality wise. So here are the photography cards. So decent card stock. They do not have a linen finish, which that's not that big a deal. All right, so here's our Donald deck. There's our last day card, which would go on the bottom. And we have more than 6 of these. So we'd randomly select 6 and then no doubt put the rest into the box. So I'll give you a little variation on that. So Dan Webb says components look good, but the time spent on the game seems light. It is for ages 8 and up. So no, like I said, one of the co-designers is Wolfgang Kramer. So, I mean, yes, I know this is not going to be his most like brain-busting designs, but still. All right, so here are different badges, it looks like. Leadership, tent pitching. So these are going to be random. So we've got that, and then we've got our gadgets. So we've got our pickaxe, fishing rod, survival gear, chisel, travel stove, forest 4-wheeler. Okay. We got an all-terrain vehicle. All right. Okay. Lake launcher, cave car, battery pack, carabiner. Guess that's how that would be pronounced, maybe. It says move from a boulder adventure area to any revealed boulder adventure area. And you can utilize these multiple times throughout the game. It didn't look like they're one and done. You can only use them once per turn. And these are our starting gear cards. We have the collector. If you're in the starting area, a path, a meadow, or lookout point, collect the resource or resources or gadget shown in that area. Locations with a white border, which are these. Then these do not have the white border. Gotta say, this looks pretty interesting. Reality is, I will be probably giving this game, once I have an opportunity to play it a few times, I'm going to give it to Elliot. Because if you follow the gaming gang, you know Elliot is a big Disney fan. I guess I could say that. He's a fanatic. He's a Disney fanatic. In fact, it's funny. I don't know if he's going to catch this episode or not. Probably when he sees that it's Disney related as far as our first look tonight. I've been hiding this hat because I wanted to bust this hat out when we get together to play next and have him be like, oh, damn, man, that's a really nice hat. Really want that hat. And I would just, tease him. No, you can't have this hat. It's my hat. All right. So we've got the various different cards. We've got our resources. We have our tents. We got the backpacks. We have some resources that fell out of the open bag. Put those back in. We've got the various different punch boards with the standees, as well as the various different tiles. We've got the board. We've got the rule book. And that is what we find inside Disney Donald Duck in Happy Camper from Maestro Media. Once again, I do believe this is available now. Carries an MSRP of $39.99. Sorry to say, Dan Webb was not impressed. Personally, for $39.99, I'm actually impressed by what's in here. Of course, I have no idea how it plays, but we'll find out. We'll find out. I'm going to bring this. We'll be busting this out. It's only 30 to 45 minutes. So this will be coming with the next time the gang gets together to play some board games. Sweet. Free Lighter Gamer says, does not have the Dan seal of approval. That's kind of funny. Chris Lundgren asks, how sturdy was the physical board? It looked solid. I mean, great. We're not talking GMT, but compared, I mean, I've seen some games where the game board was just a really thin piece of cardstock. No, that was solid pressed cardboard, whatever you want to consider it. So yes, Dan Webb's, I guess, chuckling along. All right, so that is our first look for tonight. So what's cooking the rest of the week? Tomorrow night, we're going to dive on in. We are going to take a first look at Gary Gygax's The Hermit from my pals over at Troll Lord Games. This isn't necessarily Castles and Crusades, although it does have the trade dress of Castles and Crusades, but it is Worlds of Gary Gygax. We are going to be taking a peek at this. Of course, the Castle Zagyg, I think it's on Backer Kid, if I remember correctly, is still going on. So you might want to take a peek at that. Chris Lundgren asked, how is the board itself? Because kids can be brutal with games. Yeah, but a lot of times it doesn't matter how sturdy something is. If the kids are destructive, they're going to find a way to absolutely trash something. Anywho, and then on Thursday, we're going to take a look at the Troubleshooters from Helmgast. We're going to dive on in and take a peek at this. I've got some goodies that are in transit, as I already mentioned. We have a new source book. I don't know if it's a source book or adventure book, really. But we do have a new release from Free League Publishing for the One Ring, as well as Lord of the Rings role-playing, which is on its way. I've got more stuff coming from Exalted Funeral, including the Monty Python role-playing game with a bunch of stuff, and the Molt, and the newest issue of Carcass Crawler. So that's on its way, but I think it just shipped out. I think it shipped out yesterday. So I'm not expecting to see that this week. So Max Apocalypse says, Troubleshooters has a great look to it. Definitely going to try to catch that stream. You can always watch it after the fact. On Memorex, that is certainly an option for you, I would say. So once again, if you're interested in the Discord, even though it's not public yet, I'm still up in the air if I want to make it public or if I want to make it just for members of the Patreon only. And then you would have various different accessibility based on the level of your Patreon membership, or just make just kind of like the forum aspect, because I've got it broken up like role-playing games, board games. I've got a couple of 10 people chat channels, like voice chat channels. And then I've got some members only areas. But if you are interested in checking that out, by all means, send an email to Jeff McAleer at thegaminggang.com. Now, Jose Fernandez said, hey, if you give me free access to the server, I'll be a moderator. Shoot me a quick email and I will send you the invite. Also, there are 3 of you, I'm not sure if all 3 are watching right now, who did sign up for the Patreon. Later on tonight, I will actually send you out the invites to the Discord server, and you get assigned like a level. So I've got like acolytes. So I will actually assign you, because there are different levels of things that members get to go check out. Melwinius from York just asked, is there a TGG Discord? Yeah, I was throwing it together. I shouldn't say throwing it, because I knew nothing about, well, I knew a little bit about Discord, but I didn't know about running a Discord. Just another thing that I've just had to learn, right? Oh, I didn't know anything about creating websites. When I got started with this, I didn't know anything about podcasting. When I got started with this, I didn't know anything about videos, video editing, until I started doing this. So I got myself a real education doing this. Pete Strakulich asks, any Stenard, Jeff? I'm not sure what that would mean. Or maybe I'm just being stupid and not realizing it. Relighter Gamer says tomorrow Jeff's going to be forming a union. Chris Landry asks, what Disney movie would make a great RPG? I will toss out a very underrated Disney movie. And remember, I've pointed out before, I like Disney. I'm wearing a Disney World hat, mainly because I like the old school look of that. And like I said, I like Disney. I'm not crazy. It's not like, oh, there's a new Disney movie and I'm running down the street or something. Let me into the theater. It's 8 a.m. Come on. No, not like that. But I have seen a good amount of Disney in my life, including the old wonderful World of Disney, because we used to go to my grandparents on my dad's side when that would be on. And of course, we, being kids, we had to go sit in the other room. So we watched a lot of that as kids on Sunday nights, if I remember correctly. But I would say the thoroughly underrated Treasure Planet. I think Treasure Planet would maybe make for a good role-playing game. But you'd really have to expand on it to, have enough background and different planets and creatures and things like that. So very nice. Very nice. Gleeman RX says Wind in the Willows and Ichabod Crane. Somebody just released the Legend of Sleepy Hollow role-playing game built on the Year Zero engine. Yeah, didn't I shared news of that when it was coming out. I seem to recall. Chris Leonard says The Black Cauldron would be a great movie. Or Sword in the Stone. Well, that's simply the Once and Future King, at least early portion of that from T.H. White, which is reality my favorite of the Arthurian adaptations. Of course, I have read Le Morte d'Arthur. So, but as far as the adaptations of The Legend of King Arthur, that is my favorite. That is my absolute favorite. Although it gets dark. It starts off and it's pretty like, oh, King Pellinor, oh, he's such a goofball. And then it gets pretty dark. And I heard that part of the reason was because of T.H. White's own personal life took a downturn as he was writing it. And that's why you started to get these darker situations. Although the reality is, it is the legend of King Arthur. There are some aspects to it that you kind of got to stick to. Otherwise, it's not Arthur. And no, they are dark. So Melwinia says, I remember when we were just a few people here. Great to see that Jeff starts to get the attention he deserves. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I don't know how many people we've got watching tonight. I'm going to take a guess. This will probably be a video that has like a lower viewership. Because a lot of times when we do board game stuff these days, just really don't pull in a lot of people, which is, it's okay. But I did want to share this with you tonight because it looks pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Might be a lot of fun. I'm going to find out. All right, so that is it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It will not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Also let you know, I share other videos, such as my recent review of the Dungeon Crawl Classics Dark Tower slipcase set from Goodman Games. Yes, this was another review that I shared this weekend. I keep telling you, I was super busy. Wasn't just sitting around doing nothing all weekend long. So if you have not checked that out, and if you're interested, by all means, give it a peek. I think we're almost like at 1,000 views. Isn't too bad. Not too bad. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Should also mention, I know a lot of you out there, you don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very much for taking time out to watch any of the over 2,100 videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. It really does mean a lot that you've taken time out to watch. So if you were hanging out live, thank you very much. If you took part in chat while hanging out live, tip of the cap to you, because you're keeping me company, you're keeping each other company, offloading the responsibility of me always being entertaining. I'd be lucky if I'm ever entertaining. Everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. I'll be back tomorrow. And as always, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.